Council members in the back, thank you, Councilman Lazar, for being here. Appreciate you. And I hope everyone had a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. So today we're going to address a very serious topic, which is fighting crime here in Lafayette. I want to say personally, thank you to the cooperation, to the collaboration, the communication, the teamwork, the partnership that has been shown through our Sheriff's Department, the Lafayette Police Department, other law enforcement agencies. It takes us all working together to accomplish the mission and to combat crime here in Lafayette, which we take very serious here in the fun capital of the world. We're also a very safe community, thanks to our wonderful first responders and law enforcement officers. Today we're going to talk about an initiative that is a joint effort between the Lafayette Police Department and the Lafayette Sheriff's Department. Thank you, Councilwoman Cook, also joined us. Appreciate you. And that being said, I'll turn it over to Sheriff Garber to talk about this newly created task force. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor President, members of the media. Thank you for being here. Fellow elected officials, I'd like to acknowledge you and thank you for attending as well. I'm going to make some remarks for a few minutes, go over some points about the purpose and intent of what we're trying to do here, and then I'm going to be willing to take some questions afterwards. The Lafayette Parish Lafayette, and Acadiana as a whole, has seen a rise in violence in the past 3 years, especially in the last year. This in and of itself is not unusual. When crime is down, it goes up. When it's up, it goes down. If you look back on the last 50 years, none of this is unusual. Crime is up everywhere. It's up in New Orleans. It's up in Chicago. Nonetheless, we're here today to address the rise in violent criminal activity that I have seen and that I've gotten calls from constituents on, and that the Mayor, President, and I have talked about through several different conversations throughout the latter part of this year, and to address the fact that these crimes of violence, this violent behavior, is largely attributable to some relatively small groups of people that operate in and around Lafayette Parish and in the Acadiana area. Through both the Sheriff's Office intelligence operations and the Police Department's intelligence operations, we are largely aware of who these people are. And with that, we are going to go forward and target them in a manner that I'm going to get to in just a minute. To set the context for what we're here to address, if you look at the 3-year trend, we've had 17 homicides between the Lafayette Police Department and Lafayette Sheriff's Office in 2019. In 2020, we had 21 homicides. In 2021, we had 29 homicides. You can't just look at homicides, though. Most of the shootings that occur, it result in someone being shot. There's very little information to go on for the agencies to address. And the rest of these gun crimes occur with just assaults, robberies, things like that with firearms. So taking a little bit deeper look into it, the 2021 numbers, we had 58 assaults with firearms in other parts of the parish outside of the city of Lafayette. In 2021, we had 116 assaults with firearms inside the city of Lafayette. We had 129 illegal possession of firearms outside of the city of Lafayette in the parish of Lafayette. We had 189 illegal possession of firearms inside the city of Lafayette in 2021. The batteries with a firearm, 19 outside the city and 66 inside the city of Lafayette. So we can see that this is a problem for the city of Lafayette. It's also a regional problem because Lafayette doesn't exist in a vacuum, right? Lafayette Parish does not exist in a vacuum either. We are a region here composed of the 9 parishes of the Acadiana region. Crime is a regional problem. It is not just a city problem. Our normal mode of law enforcement is to respond to crime. That's what we do. It's a guardian mode. We do a great job at addressing crimes after they happen. We have very proficient criminal investigators, and we solve most crimes. However, there's more we can do as we enter into 2022. Therefore, in partnership with the Lafayette Police Department, I'm announcing the formation and mobilization of a new joint violent crime task force consisting of officers and deputies aimed at directly addressing gun violence. This task force combines the efforts and assets of both agencies to seek out and disrupt and displace and thwart violence. We'll use technology at a scope and level not seen before and we'll combine this with aggressive criminal patrol tactics, and we'll seek out specific persons and groups of persons until they're either in custody or they've gone underground. The objective here is not to arrest as many people as possible. The objective here is to disrupt a pattern of criminal activity that we are not able to address through conventional means. The goals of this task force, as they sit now, are to target gun crimes and those who use guns in connection with crime, to remove illegal guns from the street, to disrupt, interrupt, and displace violence before it occurs, to enhance investigations by leveraging technology not previously available. What I mean by that is we have the advent of crime cameras that are more and more prevalent throughout the parish and throughout the region. We have the NIBIN's ballistic database that we use more and more with the help of the ATF. We also have the Lafayette Parish Sheriff's Office Real-Time Crime Center, which, although in its inception right now, we've had some great strides forward in the way we've been able to get on real-time in-progress offenses, and even going back on investigations, we've been able to solve some things that we shouldn't and previously wouldn't have been able to solve. So with that, I would like to thank the Lafayette Police Department for their cooperation in this that has taken place so far and has yet to come. We're looking forward to working together. This is going to be a great force multiplier for the city and for the parish of Lafayette, because as we all know, we're stronger together than we are separately. So with that, I'd be happy to entertain any questions. Yes, ma'am.
Idea on the size of these groups, the number of these groups, the age grouping?
Yeah, we have very, very good intelligence on all that. There are, but before you ask me, well, where's the list and who's on the list and all this kind of stuff, you're not going to get the list until all the cases have been prosecuted and everything's done. These are tactics, techniques, and procedures that we keep very close to the vest.
Are you saying y'all may be making arrests as you go along, but you won't release those names?
No, ma'am, that's not what I'm saying.
Okay. So you're saying you will release names as you go along, but...
Yes.
Will we know if those names are from the task force?
You won't know.
Okay.
No, you won't. We'll know, and you'll see, an uptick in arrest and an uptick in bookings as the jail accommodates space, obviously.
Can you talk about logistically how many deputies and officers will be on this task force, and
Yeah,
the breakdown of costs for who's paying for what?
Yeah, it's a great question. So we're going to use existing resources. Obviously, we don't have a back room full of cops that we can just call upon in times like this. And, I would say that we're going to use enough to get the job done, whatever that takes. My office and the Lafayette Police Department are fully and completely committed to this. So what we don't want to do is we don't want to take people off of their day job and have them spending time that could otherwise be used for other activities. So it could go anywhere from 10 officers at one time up to 40 officers and deputies at one time. Because you have to realize this is going to be comprised of criminal patrol deputies and police officers. This is going to be comprised of crime analysts working in a real-time crime center, criminal investigators that work strictly narcotics, canine officers, and also the regular CID divisions of both the Lafayette Police Department and the Sheriff's Office. So that's what I mean when I say that it can span, anywhere from 10 to 40 plus, just depending on the mission and what we're trying to do. Yes, ma'am.
So I see the DA is here as well. So can you speak about the cooperative endeavor with the DA in playing part in this?
Well, the district attorney's office and obviously even the federal prosecutor's office is hugely important to any effort that law enforcement makes to crack down in any way on anything. It doesn't matter if we're looking at littering violations or, in this case, violent crime. We can catch people, but unless we have the prosecutors committed to our same cause, it does little good, because they're going to get out on bail, and then ultimately they have to be prosecuted. They have to be held accountable for their conduct.
How many crime, this may be for Josh, or the police department, how many of these crime cameras do y'all have? And are they just in the city or parish?
Would you like me to take that? That's going to be what we call law enforcement sensitive information. The crime cameras are used by the Sheriff's Office through both our own crime cameras and through third-party cameras. We get more due to grants. In fact, the Sheriff's Office just got a grant. We're in the process of implementing additional cameras, both portable and permanently mounted ones, as well as ones on the cars. So it's a moving target, Claire. We wouldn't give that out even if we had a certain set number, but ideally it keeps increasing and keeps changing.
You said something also about, like an in-progress crime lab. Elaborate on
Yeah,
that.
and that's something that we haven't come forward yet and done a press conference on that. We haven't really fully released that, but the Lafayette Sheriff's Office operates a real-time crime center. So, for example, we've been able to track people. We tracked a man with a gun in a Lafayette neighborhood, and we're able to vector police officers and deputies into his location. Rather than just looking for a guy meeting a description, we could actually see this gentleman walking down the street, take the gun out of his waistband, see it was a black handgun, and watch him conceal it elsewhere on his body. So, that kind of information is critical to first responders. It's come in very, very handy. The other way it's used, for example, a trailer with equipment gets stolen sometime over the weekend, right? They left it there on Friday, and they come back Monday to the job site, and it's gone. We're able to use the cameras to go back and canvass and find when we saw a vehicle pulling that trailer. And even if they've, altered the appearance of their vehicle, altered the appearance of their license plate, we're still able to go back other days and through other ways and figure out who was driving that vehicle, where it's come from, and so forth, resulted in a tremendous amount of property being recovered and larger rings being broken up.
Are these gangs you're talking about?
I'd refer you to Louisiana Revised Statute 15:1404 when we're talking about gangs. Louisiana, the criminal code in Louisiana, as well as the federal United States Code, has a very specific definition of what criminal gang activity is. And, there's no reason right now to specify that we have gang activity. What we have is criminal activity. We are targeting crime. We're targeting violent crime. That's what we're here to talk about. That's what we're going after. It makes no difference to me. It is of no moment to me whether or not it's gang-related or not. It's violent crime. It poses a danger to our community. That's what we're here to target. All right?
This might be a question more for Major Dore. With the creation of this task force, how will that impact the panhandling detail that you all set forward?
I can answer. So any crime that is committed in the city of Lafayette, the police department will enforce the law.
All right. Thank you all very much. Appreciate it.
Thank you. God bless you.